Thank you very much. Yes, I'm very happy to be here, and it's very nice that me and Christiane can be ambassadors of what happened in Siena, bringing the direct words, really, and try to convey also the very nice momentum that in Siena was created, thanks to all the participants, and a lot of people gave very good inputs. And I have to say the same about this conference. I'm very excited and happy about the quality of the papers and also the quality of the commitment. And I think this is the best way probably to describe the link between the two conferences. There is a very high level of quality, but there's also a very high level of commitment, and not necessarily find the two together. So I think it's really a good start. I prepared a very short presentation to say something more about ELGA for the people who are not aware of what we are doing. So this presentation is based on a few slides that actually Klaus Bosserman prepared for Siena, and then we worked together on a new updated version of that I'm presenting here today. Well, it won't be very long, and of course we will be ready to have more questions on your side. This is just an introduction. That was the first few slides were written by Klaus. I thought they were good to be shown here. What is the challenge for lawyers? But of course, these slides are very generally all aware of that. The idea of thinking globally and not nationally. So we are all aware that there is a problem with the national state, and we obviously have the state there. We want to have national initiatives, but we have to have really a global approach when we talk about environment, ecological law, and implement then actions at the local level, and maybe network these actions. The focus is on Earth and not on states, obviously, and then the other another key issue is respect life and not just human life. So, and this goes back to all this discussion we had also here about ecosystem, the role of humans within ecosystems, and all this. So this can be described as the ecological approach as the starting point. This goes back to the initial idea to set up ELGA, as I will say later. Then we have a challenge for the law. This is also related very much to Klaus' research, but I completely agree on that. So the idea of moving from state-centered fragmenting concept, the old environmental law, to the Earth-centered comprehensive concept. So what should be the ecological law? But I think in this room, we mostly all agree, I would say, on this, need of transformation, the need of shift, and on this basic idea. So maybe there is not so such a need to convince you about that. But in other contexts, this is obviously more important too. So let's move on. So why ELGA? This is a question that we were asking ourselves. We started last year to talk about ELGA. One of the basic ideas behind the idea to launch this association, this network, this alliance of people and organization, is to bundle existing initiatives towards ecological law. So the idea is really to create a network where we bring people together, we bring organization initiatives, not only universities and not only research center within universities, but also other types of associations like ELGA, yes, of course. You are a very good example of what we can do working with civil society. And so having this kind of approach that is beyond a traditional academic society and academic association. Then, of course, the need for dialogue across disciplines is very strong, the interdisciplinary approach. And I think most of the people who are interested in ecological law, they're also interested in interdisciplinarity. This is also probably another major difference with environmental law. Within environmental law, we know there are a lot of people who are not interested in interdisciplinary work. I think within ecological law, I would say most of the people are interested for a much broader interdisciplinary approach. So bringing together, obviously, economics, law on this. I have a personal strong experience in Siena, but also science and ethics. Need for dialogue across environmental law settings, what I was just saying. So need to bring together people who do not necessarily talk to each other. And I would say this is also, we discussed about that in Siena. And I will say it also later. The idea is to create partnerships and maybe develop partnership also with different types of organizations that do not necessarily work together. So we want to work together, let's say UN Harmony with Nature Initiative, the knowledge network, some of the people are part of it, but we want at the same time to work together with other institutions or civil society groups. We would not necessarily work with UN for several reasons, but we would like to work on facts and on concrete initiatives, and we are open to partnerships if we share the goals with the different groups and initiatives. Let's move on. And need for doing what states are not or not yet doing. So trying to design laws that make a real difference, try to work on best practices. Obviously, the role of the relationship with the role of the state is a tricky issue here, which doesn't mean we're not ready to work with states. It doesn't mean we're not ready to work with public administration, but we want to keep a distance somehow and you know, explore also other possibilities. So that these are just some of the reasons why we start. I want to mention a book that was launched in Siena, so I should probably mention that also here. Is the book is called Ecological Approaches to Environmental Law. It's a compilation of 36 articles from a long time span dealing with the history, ethics, methodology, scope, and contents of ecological law. I think it's, you know, Klaus and Prue Taylor edited that. I think it's a good book to you know, to buy for the library. Yeah. So why now? This is the other question. Why ELGA? Why now? I think it's time to act. There is a great momentum. I'm also very happy myself because when we started discussing a few years ago about ecological law and creating a network with Klaus, I was a bit skeptical, and Klaus himself was very skeptical. Say, "Oh, we have seen all that, you know, in the past, this kind." But then it all faded away somehow. I think now the situation is a bit different. There is the world is more complex today than it was probably in the 90s, where people were talking about this kind of issue, or even earlier. But I think there is a broader public awareness that it's time to act, and there is more awareness about, you know, the problems related to climate change, biodiversity loss. And also, I would say I have been very much inspired by the changing in the attitude of the younger generation. I have seen that with my own students, and I've seen that with young people around the world. I think younger generation are much more ready to embark in a big change. And so I think the time is right to try to do something. And obviously, it needs to be a global initiative based on local initiatives. So, and we know that environmental law is a crossroads. We should do things differently. And that's why we came to the Oslo Manifesto, which I hope many of you are aware of, but otherwise I will provide you the link. It is on the website of ELGA. And let's move to the next one. In fact, this is about the Oslo Manifesto, which was officially launched last year at a side event that we organized. The two conveners was actually me and Klaus, so this is, you know, not saying telling a secret, but obviously there were a lot of other people from the very beginning involved into that, and actually we were surprised that there was such a broad support of people. Some of the people in this room were there, Carla, and so actually there was a broad support. Both of the people present, also many people wrote to us afterwards, and they supported this. So they encouraged us, because this was really an attempt to see if there is an interest. And actually the interest was very broad. So we were encouraged to go forward and to develop from the Oslo Manifesto the association itself. And I mean, the slogan is really from environmental law to ecological law. So it fits very much into the links with the E4A project that they were very strong from the very beginning. And so this was the starting point. The Oslo Manifest is there, is on the website of ELGA. And the idea is that all the people who want to become members of ELGA, we're still working on a proper membership, but the idea is that everybody wants to be part of it, just as to send an email, and you find the link in the website, endorsing that you support the Oslo Manifesto, which is actually the basic idea, the basic concept.
Do you know how many of those endorsements we have? It's well over 100 by individuals.
Well over 100. Yeah, I don't have the actual figure, but well over 100. Yeah, but we in fact we need now to push more. I mean, to have, because a lot of people say that they're interested, but they didn't actually send an official endorsement. So we will work on that in the next few months. And then I want to say something about the initiative where we have been promoting the Oslo Manifest in the last few years. In 2016, 2017, we compiled that with Klaus. We might have forgotten some other situation where we were present. Klaus was present at the World Conservation Congress in September 2016. We had a project together in London, a symposium which was about a parallel project which is called Planetary Integrity Project, which is run together with WWF, and this was a Klaus initiative, and I'm part of the steering committee. There was an event at the European Parliament in March 2017 about rights of nature, and I was present there. We made a link with ELGA. Klaus was at the UN General Assembly Knowledge Network in April 2017. There was a presence of ELGA at the Academy Colloquium. Not many people went to the Philippines, but we hope next year, since the colloquium is again in Europe, there will be more participation. And for sure, we have an open dialogue with the Academy of Environmental Law, and they are very supportive of ELGA's work. There's been a presence at the European Environmental Law Forum, which is a quite new association of environmental lawyers and legal experts in Europe, and there was a strong presence, and the idea is to reinforce that because they have a yearly conference. And then the ELGA will be present at the Geneva Forum on the Rights of Nature. I think Lisa Mead will be there, but I'm not sure who will go. I mean, the idea is also, you can see, it's not that we have one spokesperson and the spokesperson has to be to the different places. The idea is that the people of the steering committee in the first place, but also other people who share our approach, they can be present in different fora and advertise what ELGA is doing. So it's a very inclusive approach, and this is really what we want to do. So people are welcome to link ELGA also with their own initiatives planned also under other projects, and say, okay, but this is part also of this broader initiative under ecological law. I think this is one of our key features that we want to be part of the ELGA initiative. So it's not necessarily will be ELGA initiative only, but can be an initiative of other groups and associations in partnership with ELGA. This is, I think, what we want to do. This is the link at the website. And then the two events, but of course, this is for you all know about that. The idea from the very beginning was to link the official launch of the network in Siena last week with this seminar at this conference in Montreal, and the two should be seen together, and we hope we will be remembered to be the starting point of ELGA if we will have a success, if ELGA will have a success live, but we don't know about that. We are trying our best. It will be good. Okay, good. I'm happy about that. And then again, the ELGA project, but I will say something more. Maybe you can move to the next slide where I clarify that. So this idea again that ELGA is open to individual partnership, to individual membership. And initially we discussed a lot about official partnership and membership of institutions. For the moment, we decided not to have partnership of institutions because there might be a problem of, as it is in real life, some institutions not liking other institutions which are on the list. So we prefer not to get into this political discussion and rather have a very pragmatic approach. We want to be open to those institutions, those associations, those projects who are doing something where we share the same values. So this is the idea. So let's be more concrete. This is our idea, because otherwise we will get into a very long political type of debate where we will not find a solution. So the idea is let's work with IUCN World Commission Environmental Law. They are very keen. In Siena there was the head of the World Commission Environmental Law, the Judge Benjamin from Brazil. He was not present, but he sent a video recorded message. It was he's very supportive. He's been very supportive over the last few months, and he said, "I'm very supportive of this ecological approach. I think this is the future." So actually, there is an endorsement of what we are doing. There is the will to work together, and so I think we should work on that. And so we are thinking, for example, that ELGA should have, will probably have a slot within the academy each year. We are discussing about how to make it concrete. About UN Harmony with Nature, I think you're all aware of the UN Harmony with Nature. Many some of us are part of the knowledge network. Maria Mercedes Sanchez, who is the focal point in New York of the UN Army with Nature, came to Siena. She was in Siena, yes, and she gave a very nice keynote speech, and she was very supportive of what we are doing. We said we should explore, working together, and the legal dimension is very important, and she's keen on doing things together. It was really good. I was very happy about that. And then we have another network. This is a network to which the University of Siena is a partner. It's called Sustainable Development Solution Networks. It's a network about the SDGs implementation. It's composed by several universities, but not necessarily only university. It's chaired by Columbia University in New York, and Siena is a partner. There, they don't have a legal dimension for the moment. So they are very interested that ELGA might become a partner to develop the legal dimension within that, and they focus on the implementation of SDGs. And so this is also another interesting opportunity. We will develop in the next few weeks some more concrete talks with them. There is this planetary integrity project I mentioned where Klaus is involved, and then we are aiming to work with the Global Alliance for Rights of Nature and the other Rights of Nature association around the world, but we will need to discuss that in detail. But for sure, there are many areas where we can work together. These are just examples. I'm not excluding others. These are just some that we have in mind with which we started already a dialogue. So the idea is really to create a very broad network. When I try to explain what ELGA can do to people who are not experts of that, I always say one of the aims might be also to get the best practices which are happening around the world. That's why I'm very keen on seeing concrete examples and try to transfer concrete examples from a certain part of the world to another part of the world where there might be similar problems. And in order to fight against this sense of isolation that Christianism is, we have been talking a lot of time about that. Many people are fighting at local level, are trying to do something different. They feel they're too small of a group to have an impact. But if you think that you have a lot of friends and like-minded people around the world, and also people who can bring you concrete input, because they say, okay, you want to do that in Italy, let's say, but we have been doing something very similar in Australia, New Zealand, in Brazil. So why not, bringing this experience forward? This is really something.
Economics for the anthropocentric.
Yeah, I will put it on the list. Sorry, I didn't have time to share this with Jeff. Everything is live here, so
of course, including the side
economics for the anthropocentric was at a broader, partnership level. So it's implied.
Yeah. Nice save.
But okay, let's say something more about the Siena launch event. In Siena, we discussed a statement. The statement is not out yet. We're still fine-tuning the statement that will be on the website soon. The statement is supposed to be an official, short official document where we say, ELGA was officially launched and we're keen on working, and is building up on the Oslo Manifest. So we're still discussing on the out of frame, and we discussed about the 3-year strategy plan. Even there, we will publish it soon, and we are also, fine-tuning that. And we have been doing an interesting work on what was promoted by Lisa Mead, one of our members of the steering committee. She proposed to have a World Cafe working format. So we discussed on 4 questions, a bit similar to what we'll be doing today, and I will show at the end the 4 questions. And this is an open debate around what should be ecological law, what are the obstacles to ecological governance in practice. I think this could become a sort of open format where people give inputs also later. We started that in Siena as an experiment, but this can go on also in the future. I will show in the last slide also the questions. And it's very important because actually the name of this fresco is, you see it at the top, this was the group, and this is actually dating from 1338. It was conceived as a depiction of the good government, how you can govern a city. So it was there from the beginning. In fact, it shows half of it is the good government within the city walls, and the other part is the good government, the effects of the good government on the countryside. And it's astonishing for many respects. For example, the countryside is still very similar to that one. If you go at the top of the municipal hall tower in Siena and you look around, it's still very similar. So they've been writing books about that, And this was, at that time, Siena was an independent city, so it was a democracy. The government was elected, so it has all sort of implications, and it's very interesting how this is linked to a good management. That's why now, they try to. There is this idea to link it also with the SDGs, and I think it's very interesting and fascinating. And so let's go on now to the last slide, where you can find the 4 questions. And yeah, and these are the 4 questions we worked on this Work Cafe working format. What components, factors make law and governance ecological? So what is the difference with the traditional approach? What assumptions or obstacles do we need to overcome? What will it take to make ecological law and governance a reality? And what needs our immediate attention going forward? This is just the structure that we use for our discussion and could be replicated sometimes in the future, or people can just give input on that basis.
Yeah.